So the weekend was really good with racing. If you guys haven't watched that video yet, definitely go watch it. I'm race the Nova and Clayton races the Mustang, and you have to check out that to see the results. But my car runs a Megasquirt, actually the MS3 Pro Ultimate. I'm having an issue where it has a built-in SD card in it, and the SD card is showing an error. So I've been doing some reading, and guys are saying that it could be the card could be corrupted. Could be other issues too, which means I would have to like send the box back to MS3 Pro or DIY tune, which I don't really want to do, but I figured the easiest thing to do is take the cover off. It just comes off here, screws on the back, and take a look and then see what we can figure out. And if I can't figure out anything, then might have to look at sending it back, because I can't do any logging. Oops. I can't do any logging. It has like onboard logging within the box itself, but I can't do it because the SD card has an error. So let's take this apart and see what's going on. All right, so it seems pretty simple. There's just some screws. I'm a little nervous about taking this thing apart. These things are pretty freaking expensive. But we'll just take the screws out and take a look, see what we can see. I think I can data log with like a laptop still. The only issue is, you know, when you're racing, I shouldn't have a laptop laying inside the car, really. So, not to mention my laptop battery's dead, and so when I want to use my laptop, I have to use like a booster pack. So, that's pretty ridiculous. But I am going to order a battery for my laptop ASAP. But it would definitely be nice if I could use the data logging feature. Okay, so this just comes off like this. I don't know what that is. Something taped inside here. Weird. Okay. And bring you in for a closer look. You can see what it looks like inside a Megasquirt box. It's pretty crazy. There's lots of things in there that do various kinds of things. And here is the SD card right there. So I'll just pop it out, and then I guess I'll put it in my laptop and kind of see what it's doing. I'm hoping it's just the card. I can go buy a new card, big deal if it's just the card, but let's see. Okay, well, it says there's a whole bunch of logs in here. Unless it's just full, but wouldn't it overwrite? It says there's 409 items. All from 2017. Looks like all from 2017. But I definitely didn't log 409 things. So, I don't think, but maybe it filled itself up. Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll transfer all these files out onto my laptop and then put it back in and then see what happens, I guess. I was looking at the Tuner Studio, and under SD card data logging, you probably can't see this, but basically here it says how you want the SD card to log, and this says always button, use a button, trigger, starts log when trigger conditions are met. And then it's set by TPS and 80%. So for whatever reason, this thing's turned on, looks like it's turned on to log like every single time that the throttle meets 80%, which is, you know, obviously it's just been over like logging and logging, and then maybe it just filled the card up. It's supposed to overwrite them, but it's possible for some reason it wasn't. So I cleared all them off the card. We'll put a card back in, put the cover back on, put it back in the car, and see. Basically, when you open up the gauge cluster, which is here, down here, all these little things here. There's one that says SD card error, and right here, you can see that right there. It says SD error. That's the one that keeps lighting up, and then it doesn't allow the SD card to work. So I'll have to do that, and then I'll have to change the settings in the program to either log with a button, or I can do it any way that I want to do it. So I'll maybe make it so when the trans brake gets released, or I don't even know. But we'll put this back together. All right, so I got her all mounted back in there. I'll show you where it mounts. You can see it right there, up under the dash and the fuse block and all that whatnot. So it's back in, and let's give it a try and see if it works good now. I got the laptop in there. I will bring up the file in Tuner Studio, open last project, and we'll see if, I'm not sure if I have to start it or if I can just turn the key on. So let's try just turning the key on, and then it'll connect. Oh no, see, now it says SD ready. So before it was saying SD error. Let's see if I can fire it up. All right, so we're all good now. I don't know what's going on out there. So that's all it was. It was just over full, I guess. I'll have to go back in and change the settings so that it only logs when I want it to. Have to decide on what way that's going to be, whether it's just going to be, I might be able to wire it into like, so that when I release the trans brake, or, I mean, I could wire it in on a button, kind of like they do, you know, when they're racing and they press the button on the back, but we'll figure that out after. All right, guys, so it's a couple days later. I was working on the GTO front bumper yesterday, more just sanding it. I didn't bother to film it because that's just boring. We're heading to Clayton's shortly to go work on the shit horse. So we have to fix a transmission leak and then start doing some tuning and hopefully making some test passes. So we'll head out there now and get to work on it. Waiting in line at Tim Hortons to get a coffee. Lots of Canadian people apparently like to do this. I was just looking at this Subaru here. I thought it had twin turbos, but Mike says those are horns. So pretty fancy. All right, guys, we're here at Clayton's. We got the shit horse up on stands. We took a look at the dipstick and the O-ring looks good. So now we're just gonna put some oil in and let it run and see if it leaks, or see where it leaks from. Maybe a line is leaking. I don't know.
Front seal, rear seal, pressure return, or the dipstick tube. That's all.
Yeah. I can't see any of the seals leaking. So, and then Mike's doing some things. I don't know what he's doing. What are you doing, Mike?
Taking the brackets off to clean them off and paint them. Probably not paint them today.
Coil brackets?
Sprockets.
Because it's raining. Why can't you paint them in here?
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, you don't want to get
paint them by the fire pit.
You don't want to get paint on a Mustang. Yeah, it's not raining. Okay, well, just whatever. I'm just wondering what you're doing. Well, so far there's nothing leaking. So we put in like two and a half, almost 3 liters. So far, it looks all good. So we'll let her sit for 10 minutes and see what happens. And it started leaking. So we pulled the dipstick tube out. We're gonna let it drain, and then we're gonna have to put a new O-ring and probably some silicone around it. I got a whole box of O-rings, but I put a new O-ring on it, so I don't know. But we got a whole box here. We'll find one that works good. We'll add a little silicone, and hopefully that'll stop our leak. I put another O-ring on, and Clayton kind of opened this hole a little bit. We think it might not have been totally round, kind of squished. So that looks pretty good. We can put a little silicone on there, and hopefully it's gonna be good.
Should be good.
So we got it all back together. We'll let that silicone dry for a bit, and then should be good to go, hopefully. Yeah, maybe we had burnouts. I found another leak while the car's been sitting there. It's actually leaking out of this, if you can see it right there, that silver plug. You can see it actually leaking, possibly. That is for the modulator valve, which it doesn't have because it's a manual valve body. So there's a plug there, and that's leaking also. So I'll pull that out and put a new O-ring on it or silicone it or whatever. We're just doing a little tune in here. Mike did some diddling on the tune there. We're gonna go take it for a spin.
Watch the computer.
Put my feet on the computer. Better get my seatbelt on. Mike's driving, you never know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna push down on his leg really hard when he starts driving. I'm just gonna reach over.
We're not making a hit.
Pour some water down, Clayton. Some of that MEK, pour that down. Well, it's been a while since we've been in the old shit horse. Too long, actually. So we're hoping that things are going to be good so we can get plates on this thing and actually start doing some cruising and screwing around with it. Some content for you guys.
Much better with transmission fluid.
Well, sure. Pretty good.
Yeah, this is what I was hoping to accomplish. Now it's drivable.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. At least we can get it out on the road so we can start fucking around with it.
Spikes me a little bit there. Like just right as it's
right.
Yeah, I get it.
A little bit though. Not 17 or 14 and a half for a second. That's probably just a little adjustment needs to be made, you know, a couple cells or whatever.
Smells.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the paint burning off. Maybe that's the sparkles. Maybe the sparkles are burning.
That's true.
That's how it smelled when it was in the garage too. You got the fan on, yeah. Probably a mouse nest in the exhaust or something. Probably smelling, burning off. We got lots of oil pressure. 40 pounds, I guess that is.
Yeah, it must just be.
is getting a little squirrely there.
I wanted to make it impressive. But
Yeah.
Getting there, feel look good from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm not steering it there.
Not terrible, anyways. Well, all in all, a pretty good first test drive of the year.
Well, no, the first test drive was
Wow,
with me.
first
when
good test
it
drive
ran
of
shitty
yes.
and I got stranded, but
Wow, the first good test drive of the year.
it kind of smelled, but it just.
It's that pink power. Yeah, seems pretty good.
Air fuel okay?
You know, need a little tweaking maybe here and there, but definitely not going lean, like super lean like it was.
Kind of popping-ish a little bit when you
Well,
guys hit that burnout.
It's also like on decel, it's popping through the exhaust a little bit, like pop, pop, pop. Yeah,
Well, that's the in thing right
the
now.
burble tune, yeah. Yeah. So far, so good.